Years ago, when I started using Nikon cameras, there was one focus setting that kind of eluded me, and that was focus point persistence. When would I use it? What does it do? The manual, of course, didn't help. There were like 3 sentences dedicated to this. They were all 40 words long. It's just very confusing. So, what I wanted to do here is kind of give you a visual of what this setting does and when you might want to use it. Focus point persistence is found in the custom settings A group. Those are your custom settings for the focus or autofocus. And you have two options in here, auto or off. But first, let's talk about when you might want to use this setting. This is really useful if you're using like subject detection in the auto AF area mode. So you're using the entire screen and you're telling the camera to search for some kind of subject that you've set in the subject detection options. And when the camera is tracking one of those subjects and you are commanding autofocus, you have the option of pushing another button on the camera and switching to a completely different AF area mode in a different area of the screen without ever leaving autofocus, without ever having to go into any of the menus. So you can program almost any button on the camera or lens to switch to a different AF area mode and command autofocus at the same time if you like. And I like using the lens function button for that. I have my lens function button set to use the 3D tracking mode and command autofocus when I press that. So no matter what autofocus area mode that I'm in, I can push that lens button and it'll automatically switch to that 3D tracking mode and start tracking where the box is. So let's say that you are in that auto area AF mode using the entire screen and you're tracking an animal. If focus point persistence is set to auto and it's tracking something, when you press that button to go to a different autofocus area mode, that point for that different mode is going to pick up, it's going to start where the camera had been tracking that previous subject. So here I'm tracking a horse. I press that lens function button, in this case to go to single point, and that single point is going to start at the exact same spot it was tracking the horse. So it gives you the option of switching to a different autofocus area mode, but in the same spot that the camera was already focused. But if you have this set to off, and you're tracking something and you're commanding autofocus, and you press that lens function button to go to a different autofocus area mode, it's going to go to the last position on the screen where that AF area mode was before you entered the auto area AF mode. So here again, I'm tracking that horse. I'm in auto area AF mode. That box is around the horse. I'm commanding autofocus. And while I'm doing that, I press the lens function button to go to single point with autofocus enabled. Watch where that single point goes. It's going to go to a completely different spot to where it was the last time that I had it before entering auto area AF. So this can be useful if you are tracking something, commanding autofocus, and you instantly want to start focusing on a different point without having to go into any of the menus or rotating command dials or anything like that. You just push a button on the camera and it's going to go to a completely separate autofocus area mode in a different area of the screen. Looking at another very basic example here that I created for the Nikon Z Photography Fundamentals course, we're in the auto area AF mode, we're tracking someone's eye, and when I press that lens function button to go to 3D tracking, that 3D tracking box is going to stay over her eye. That's when I have this set to auto. Auto is going to keep that box where the camera was last focusing on something. But now here I've set it to off. We're tracking her eye. I press that lens function button and that 3D tracking box is going to go where it was last before I entered the auto area AF mode. So that's the quick and dirty on Nikon's focus point persistence setting. If you have any other techniques or tips for using this, if you use it differently, please let us know in the comments. You can learn so much more about customizing your focus system in the Nikon Z Photography Fundamentals course. You'll find that link here on the screen and in the description. You can save 20% off that course with the code TUBE20. Subscribe for more great tips like this every week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.